They say trust is earned, not given. But some people slip past your defenses so quietly, you don't even realize it until it's too late. My name is Megan Calloway, Meg to everyone who knows me, and I've built my life around one simple principle: make moments matter. As a freelance event planner, I've orchestrated weddings that left guests breathless, corporate galas that turned boardroom rivals into handshake allies, and charity fundraisers that brought communities together. People hire me because I'm meticulous, detail-oriented, and relentless when it comes to solving problems. It's not just work for me, it's art. And yet, all the planning in the world couldn't prepare me for what happened next. Izzy Hartley has been part of my life since before I can remember. She grew up alongside my younger sister, Lila, and me, weaving herself into the fabric of our family like an extra thread. To most people, Izzy seems larger than life, confident, magnetic, always the center of attention. But I knew her cracks. Beneath the polished Instagram posts and effortless charm was someone scrambling to keep up appearances, someone desperate to prove she had it all figured out. Still, none of that mattered to me. We were friends, or at least I thought we were. It started innocently enough. A phone call on a Tuesday evening, her voice bubbling with excitement. "Meg, I need your help," she said, skipping pleasantries altogether. "I've got this idea, an app that streamlines event bookings. No more chasing down vendors or juggling spreadsheets. It'll revolutionize the industry." She spoke fast, words tumbling over each other like dominoes falling. By the time she finished, I could practically hear the dollar signs ringing in her ears. "And you want me involved?" I asked, skeptical but intrigued. Event planning software wasn't exactly uncharted territory, but something about her enthusiasm was contagious. "Of course," she replied without missing a beat. "You know the ins and outs better than anyone. With your expertise and my connections, we'll crush it. 50-50 split on profits, once it launches." The offer came with strings attached, a $7,000 investment to cover initial development costs. $7,000. The number echoed in my head as I weighed the decision. On paper, it made sense. Izzy was persuasive, painting a picture of success so vivid it felt within reach. Besides, this wasn't just business, it was personal. This was Izzy, the girl who'd sat beside me during awkward middle school dances, who'd helped Lila through her first heartbreak. How could I say no? So I didn't. I handed over the money, believing in our shared vision. At first, everything seemed fine, normal even, just another favor between friends. But then the red flags began to surface, subtle at first, like faint ripples on calm water. Deadlines came and went with no updates. When I asked for progress reports, Izzy brushed me off with vague promises. "Technical glitches," she'd say, "or the developers are swamped." Each excuse chipped away at my confidence, but I told myself to be patient. These things took time, right? Wrong. One Friday afternoon, I stopped by a coffee shop near my apartment to catch up on emails. While waiting for my latte, I scrolled through Instagram absently. That's when I saw it, a photo of Izzy holding court at some trendy rooftop bar, laughing with friends. Her caption read, "Celebrating big wins, #living my best life." But it wasn't the caption that caught my eye. It was the designer handbag slung casually over her shoulder, the same bag I'd drooled over months ago when it retailed for nearly $3,000. Then there was the gold bracelet dangling from her wrist, chunky and unmistakably expensive. Both items looked brand new, purchased recently based on their tags. Suddenly, pieces clicked into place. The missed deadlines, the evasive texts, the empty reassurances. All those little warning signs I'd ignored now screamed louder than ever. My stomach churned as I stared at the screen, my mind racing. Was this where my money had gone? Into flashy accessories instead of the app we'd supposedly been building together? I wanted to believe there was another explanation, anything that would absolve her of guilt. But deep down, I already knew the truth. I texted her immediately. "Hey, can we talk?" There are a few things I need clarification on. Minutes passed, then hours. No response. By midnight, I realized she'd blocked me, not just on Instagram, but across every platform we'd used to communicate. That night, sleep eluded me. Every memory of Izzy played on repeat in my mind, morphing from cherished moments into bitter betrayals. How could she do this? After everything we'd been through, after all the times I'd trusted her implicitly, she'd thrown it away for a quick payday. The weight of her betrayal pressed down on me, suffocating and heavy. For the first time in years, I cried myself to sleep. When morning came, the tears were gone, replaced by something else entirely: resolve. If Izzy thought she could take advantage of me and walk away scot-free, she was dead wrong. This wasn't over, not by a long shot. The days blurred together after that night, each one heavier than the last. I kept telling myself it was just a phase, that startups were messy and unpredictable. Every time I reached out to Izzy for updates, she'd respond with the same rehearsed optimism. "Big things are coming soon, Meg. Trust me." Her words dripped with charm, but they felt hollow now, like a script she'd memorized to keep me at bay. Still, part of me clung to hope. Maybe there really were technical issues. Maybe this was all just bad timing. But doubt has a way of burrowing under your skin, no matter how hard you try to ignore it. It started small, a nagging thought here, a restless night there, but soon it consumed me. I found myself replaying every conversation we'd had about the app, dissecting her tone, searching for cracks in her facade. The more I thought about it, the more I realized how little I actually knew. What developers was she working with? Where were they based? She'd never given me specifics, only vague reassurances wrapped in glittering promises. Then came the Instagram photos, the final nail in the coffin. That damn handbag, the bracelet, the smug smile on her face as if she didn't have a care in the world. $7,000 worth of designer accessories hanging off her arms while I sat alone in my apartment, staring at the screen until my vision blurred. My hands trembled as I opened our message thread and typed out those 3 simple words: "We need to talk." No response, not even a read receipt. At first, I assumed she was busy or avoiding confrontation. People do that sometimes, right? But when I tried calling her later that evening, the call went straight to voicemail. Panic bubbled up in my chest, sharp and acidic. I logged into Facebook next, then Twitter, then LinkedIn. Blocked everywhere. Each platform hit me like a punch to the gut, confirming what I'd already suspected but refused to accept. Izzy wasn't just dodging questions. She was cutting ties completely. I threw my phone onto the couch, heart pounding so loudly I could barely hear myself think. Betrayal doesn't come quietly. It screams claws, tears apart everything you thought you knew. And that's exactly what happened. Memories flooded back uninvited. Late-night study sessions in high school, road trips with Lila crammed in the back seat, laughter echoing through years of shared history. All those moments now felt tainted, rewritten by her greed. For hours, I sat there in silence, letting anger burn through me like wildfire. How dare she? After everything, after all the times I'd trusted her without question, she'd taken advantage of me. Worse still, she'd made me complicit in my own downfall. Why hadn't I asked more questions, pushed harder for details, trusted my instincts instead of burying them under excuses? By morning, the fury had faded into something far worse. Shame. Shame for being naive enough to believe her lies, for handing over money without safeguards or contracts. What would people say if they found out? Would they see me as weak, gullible, someone who deserved to be taken advantage of? The thought paralyzed me. For 2 days, I avoided calls from friends and ignored emails from clients, too embarrassed to face anyone. Even grocery shopping felt like an ordeal, as though strangers could somehow read the truth written across my face. Financial stress only deepened the hole I was digging for myself. $7,000 might not sound like much to some people, But for me, it represented months of work, late nights spent perfecting timelines and budgets, endless negotiations with vendors. Now it was gone, vanished into thin air, and I couldn't afford to lose any more. Reluctantly, I dipped into my emergency savings, watching the balance plummet with each transaction. Each withdrawal felt like another piece of me crumbling away, leaving behind a hollow shell of who I used to be. One evening, as I stared at my laptop screen trying to focus on an upcoming gala proposal, tears welled up unexpectedly. They spilled down my cheeks before I could stop them, hot and uncontrollable. I buried my face in my hands, shoulders shaking as sobs racked my body. This wasn't just about the money anymore. It was about trust, pride, identity. Who was I without the things I valued most? Without faith in others, in myself? When the tears finally subsided, I wiped my face and took a shaky breath. Sitting there amid the wreckage of my emotions, something inside me shifted. Anger reignited, stronger this time, fueled by desperation and resolve. If Izzy thought she could walk away scot-free, she was dead wrong. She might have underestimated me once, but she wouldn't get the chance again. I opened my laptop and began typing, fingers flying across the keyboard as a new plan formed in my mind. First step: uncover everything I could about her life. Social media profiles, public records, mutual acquaintances. I'd leave no stone unturned. Second step: gather evidence. Third step: make sure the world knew exactly who Isolde Hartley really was. As I worked late into the night, one thought kept me going. Revenge isn't just about justice, it's about reclaiming power. And I intended to take back every ounce of mine. I didn't sleep much after that night. Sleep felt like a luxury I couldn't afford, not when every second could bring me closer to the truth. The next morning, I sat at my desk with a steaming cup of coffee and opened a blank document on my laptop. At the top, I typed 2 words: Operation Reckoning. It sounded dramatic, maybe even a little over the top, but it fit. This wasn't just about getting my money back. It was about dismantling the carefully constructed lie Izzy had built around herself. Step 1, research. If I was going to take her down, I needed ammunition, proof she couldn't wriggle out of. I started with social media, combing through every post, comment, and photo she'd ever shared. What I found made my blood boil. There were countless pictures of her flaunting expensive vacations, designer clothes, and nights out at exclusive clubs, all paid for during the same months she claimed to be struggling with technical glitches. But what really caught my attention was a string of boastful captions. Things like, "Some people call it luck, I call it strategy," or "When life gives you lemons, sell them for profit." Subtle digs masked as humble brags. But to me, they were confessions. Then came the emails, using an old login she'd given me early on, before she realized how much trouble I could cause. I accessed our shared project folder, or rather, what was supposed to be our shared project folder. Instead of development plans or vendor contracts, it was nearly empty, just a handful of generic templates and placeholder files. But buried in the trash bin was something far more interesting: a series of exchanges between Izzy and someone named Marcus. In broken English, Marcus promised to deliver a fully functional prototype within weeks for a fraction of the amount I'd given her. My hands shook as I scrolled through the thread, each message confirming what I already suspected. There never was an app. It had all been a scam from the beginning. But I needed more than digital breadcrumbs. I needed context, faces, voices, things that would make her betrayal undeniable. So I booked a trip to her hometown under the guise of nostalgia. Just needed to get away for a bit, I told Lila when she asked why I was visiting so suddenly. She didn't press further, which was good. I wasn't ready to explain yet. Not fully. The town hadn't changed much since we were kids. The same mom-and-pop diner still stood on Main Street, its neon sign flickering faintly in the afternoon light. As I sipped weak coffee at a corner booth, I listened intently to conversations happening around me. Word travels fast in small towns, and it didn't take long before I heard whispers about Izzy. Apparently, she'd been pulling stunts like this for years, borrowing money from friends, skipping out on rent, lying about job offers. One woman even mentioned seeing her mother crying outside the post office last month, muttering something about unpaid debts. That's when it hit me. Izzy's reputation wasn't just important, it was everything. Without it, she'd crumble. And I knew exactly how to exploit that weakness. Back home, I got to work building leverage. First, I created 3 fake social media profiles posing as potential investors interested in her groundbreaking app. Each profile had a polished backstory and enough online activity to seem legitimate. Within days, Izzy took the bait, messaging me enthusiastically about partnerships and expansion plans. I played along, feeding her just enough enthusiasm to keep her hooked, while subtly steering the conversation toward specifics. Dates, names, promises, anything that could later be used against her. Meanwhile, I reached out to local journalists and bloggers anonymously, planting seeds of doubt about her business practices. A tip here, a screenshot there. It wasn't hard to pique their interest. Soon, articles began popping up questioning the legitimacy of her ventures. Comment sections filled with accusations, former acquaintances coming forward with similar stories of being scammed. Watching it unfold from behind my screen gave me a grim sense of satisfaction. Every article, every comment was another brick in the wall I was building around her. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was missing something, a final piece to seal her fate. Then it hit me, the launch party. Izzy had teased it endlessly on Instagram, calling it the biggest event of the year and promising exclusive demos of her revolutionary app. Tickets were selling fast, according to her posts, and influencers were lining up to attend. It was perfect, a public stage where I could expose her lies once and for all. I spent weeks planning every detail, rehearsing what I would say, anticipating how she might react. By the time the day arrived, I was ready. More than ready. I was electrified, buzzing with adrenaline and purpose. As I logged into the live stream platform that evening, my heart pounded in rhythm with the ticking clock. Thousands of viewers tuned in, eager to see what all the hype was about. Little did they know they were about to witness something far more explosive than a product demo. And then it happened. Midway through her presentation, I struck. Comments flooded the chat, each one carrying screenshots of incriminating emails, links to exposés, and damning testimonials from past victims. Izzy froze mid-sentence, her confident smile faltering as she frantically tried to delete the evidence. But it was too late, the damage was done. "You thought distance would protect you," I typed into the chat, my fingers trembling with rage and triumph. "You underestimated me." The live stream descended into chaos as viewers demanded answers, hurling insults and accusations at Izzy. Her face turned pale, her voice cracking as she pleaded for forgiveness, for understanding. But no one believed her, not anymore. The facade she'd worked so hard to maintain shattered in real time, leaving her exposed and powerless. As the broadcast ended, I leaned back in my chair, exhaling slowly. It was over. She was finished. But even as relief washed over me, I couldn't ignore the lingering question nagging at the edges of my mind. Was this enough? Had I truly reclaimed my power, or simply traded one kind of emptiness for another? The live stream launch party was supposed to be Izzy's crowning moment, a grand unveiling of her revolutionary app that would cement her status as a self-made success. She stood in front of the camera, bathed in soft studio lighting, her perfectly styled hair and designer outfit screaming confidence. Behind her, a sleek logo flashed on a screen. Event stream, it read, bold letters promising innovation and efficiency. The chat buzzed with excitement, fans gushing over how brilliant she looked, how inspiring her journey had been. I watched from my apartment, fingers poised over the keyboard, heart pounding like a war drum. This was it, the culmination of weeks of planning, sleepless nights, and relentless determination. My screen was split into 2 windows, one showing the live stream, the other filled with tabs containing screenshots, emails, and links to exposés I'd helped orchestrate. Everything I needed to destroy her was right there at my fingertips. "Welcome, everyone," Izzy chirped, her voice dripping with practiced charm. "Tonight is about celebrating big dreams and turning them into reality. EventStream isn't just an app, it's a movement." She paused for dramatic effect, letting the audience cheer before continuing. "And trust me, you're going to want to stick around because what I'm about to show you will change the way you plan events forever." That's when I struck. My first comment dropped into the chat like a grenade. Funny how big dreams always seem to come with stolen money. Below it, I posted a screenshot of an email exchange between Izzy and Marcus, the same one where she haggled over prices for a fake prototype. Within seconds, more comments followed, flooding the chat with damning evidence. Links to articles detailing her scams, photos of luxury items purchased with stolen funds, testimonials from other victims, all timed to appear in rapid succession. At first, Izzy didn't notice. She kept talking, oblivious to the chaos unfolding beneath her polished facade. But then the notifications started pinging audibly on her end, interrupting her rehearsed monologue. Her smile faltered as she glanced at her monitor, eyes widening in panic. Hold on a second," she stammered, fumbling with her mouse as she tried to delete the offending messages. Too late. They multiplied faster than she could erase them, each new piece of evidence sinking her deeper into the abyss. "You thought distance would protect you," I typed, hitting send with a surge of satisfaction. The words appeared in bold letters across the chat, drawing gasps and angry replies from viewers. "You underestimated me." Her head snapped up, face ghostly pale. For a moment, she just stared at the camera, mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. Then, in a desperate attempt to salvage control, she forced a laugh. Okay, this is clearly some kind of misunderstanding," she said, her tone wavering between indignation and fear. "Someone hacked my account or set me up. You guys know me. I would never do something like this." But the cracks in her voice betrayed her. So did the mounting evidence. As if on cue, another wave of comments rolled in, not from me this time, but from people I'd secretly collaborated with. Mutual acquaintances who'd grown tired of her manipulations, former friends fed up with her lies, even clients she'd swindled in the past. Together, they painted a picture far uglier than anything I could have done alone. One commenter shared a recording of a voicemail Izzy left months ago, begging for yet another loan under false pretenses. Another posted a copy of a bounce check made out to a vendor she'd stiffed after promising payment. Each revelation hit like a hammer blow, chipping away at her carefully constructed image until nothing remained but rubble. No, wait," Izzy cried, hands clutching the edge of her desk as though it might anchor her to reality. Tears welled in her eyes, mascara smudging as she pleaded with the audience. "Please listen to me. I swear, none of this is true. These are lies. Someone's trying to ruin me." But no one believed her. Not anymore. The chat exploded with accusations, insults, demands for refunds, and apologies. Influencers who'd once praised her publicly distanced themselves, deleting posts and blocking her accounts. Even her own mother weighed in, posting a tearful apology on Facebook, forever trusting her daughter's promises. It was a public execution, swift and merciless. I leaned back in my chair, watching the carnage unfold with a mix of vindication and unease. Part of me wanted to savor the moment, to revel in the justice I'd delivered. But another part felt hollow, like I'd traded one kind of emptiness for another. Revenge wasn't sweet. It was bitter, sharp-edged, leaving behind scars that wouldn't heal anytime soon. As the live stream devolved into chaos, Izzy collapsed onto her chair, sobbing uncontrollably. Her microphone picked up every choked breath, every broken plea for forgiveness. And though I should have felt triumphant, all I could think about was the cost of victory. What had I sacrificed to get here? Who had I become? Before I could dwell on those questions too long, a private message popped up on my screen. It was from one of my collaborators, an old friend of Lila's named Theo. "Phase 2 starts now," he wrote. Beneath his words was a link labeled Backup Plan. My stomach twisted as I hovered over the link. Phase 2? I hadn't planned for a Phase 2. Whatever it was, it couldn't be good for either of us. The fallout was swift and merciless. Within hours of the live stream implosion, Izzy's world unraveled like a threadbare sweater caught on a nail. Her social media profiles, once glowing with curated perfection, were inundated with accusations. Followers turned into accusers overnight, their comments venomous and unrelenting. Influencers who'd once promoted her business deleted posts in droves, distancing themselves from the scandal as fast as possible. Even brands she'd claimed partnerships with issued public statements denying any affiliation. The facade she'd spent years building crumbled under the weight of truth. Then came the legal threats. Former victims, emboldened by the exposure, began filing complaints against her. Some sought refunds. Others wanted justice for damages far beyond monetary loss. I watched it all unfold from my laptop screen, each update a reminder that karma has teeth and they bite hard. Her mother stopped speaking to her altogether after discovering the extent of her deceit. Neighbors whispered behind closed doors about the Hartley family's shame. By the end of the week, Izzy had vanished from public view entirely, retreating into obscurity like a wounded animal licking its wounds. But the ripple effects didn't stop there. Something unexpected happened. People started reaching out to me. Messages poured in from strangers, thanking me for exposing her schemes, sharing their own stories of betrayal and heartbreak at her hands. It wasn't just anger driving them, it was solidarity. They saw themselves in my struggle, recognized the pain of being taken advantage of, and found hope in seeing someone fight back. That's when inspiration struck. If so, many people resonated with my story. Why not channel that energy into something positive? I launched a crowdfunding campaign titled Rising from Betrayal. In the description, I framed it not as revenge, but as resilience, a way to reclaim what I'd lost while inspiring others to do the same. Donations poured in almost immediately, far exceeding my initial goal. Friends, acquaintances, even complete strangers contributed, leaving heartfelt notes of encouragement alongside their pledges. One donor wrote, "Your courage gives me strength to face my own battles." Another simply said, "Thank you for reminding us we're not alone." As the funds rolled in, I felt something shift inside me, a quiet confidence replacing the hollow ache that had consumed me for weeks. This wasn't just about money anymore. It was about reclaiming power, not through vengeance, but through vulnerability. For the first time since this nightmare began, I allowed myself to feel proud, not of the destruction I'd caused, but of how I'd risen above it. Still, the journey wasn't without scars. Late at night, when the adrenaline faded and the silence settled heavy around me, doubts crept in. Had I gone too far? Was this version of me, strategic, calculating, willing to play dirty, the person I wanted to be? I replayed moments from Operation Reckoning in my mind, questioning whether justice justified the cost. But then I remembered the tears, the sleepless nights, the suffocating weight of betrayal. And I reminded myself, sometimes survival demands sacrifice. In the end, closure wasn't a single moment, it was a process. A slow, steady climb out of darkness toward light. When the crowdfunding campaign wrapped up, I used part of the funds to cover my losses and invested the rest into rebuilding my business. Event planning had always been my passion, and now more than ever, I understood its value. Creating meaningful experiences for others gave me purpose, a way to turn pain into something beautiful. Narrating directly to the audience, I reflected on everything I'd learned. Betrayal taught me two things, I said, staring into the camera as if speaking to each viewer individually. First, that trust is precious. Once broken, it takes time and effort to rebuild, not just with others, but with yourself. Second, that justice doesn't always come easily, but when it does, it's worth every step. I paused, letting the words hang in the air before delivering one final message. Sometimes the hardest lessons come from the people we least expect, but betrayal can be a catalyst for growth if you choose to rise above it. Smiling faintly, I added, "If you were in my shoes, what would your revenge look like? Let me know in the comments." And with that, I clicked upload, sharing my story with the world. As the video processed, I leaned back in my chair, exhaling slowly. It was over, or at least this chapter was. Whatever challenges lay ahead, I knew one thing for certain. I was stronger now. Stronger, wiser, and ready to face whatever came next. But as I closed my laptop, a notification blinked on my phone. It was an email from Theo, the friend who'd sent me the mysterious link during the live stream. The subject line read, "Phase 2 complete." My stomach tightened as I opened it. What had he done? And more importantly, what did it mean for me?